Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome again. We are starting today's meeting with the management board of Grupa Kety. We have all members of the board and Rafał Lechowicz, head of the board of Alupol Packaging SA. Today's meeting will be dedicated to the results after the third quarter of 2021 and the prospects for the new quarter. As usual, and the meeting will be opened by Dariusz Mańko, the CEO. Then the heads of the segments will give their presentations. Then we will have financial details and move on to the Q&A session. Right now, I will share the presentation on the screen so that you can see it. And we're starting. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. And the last time I said that we will probably have a live meeting, but it seems that we are approaching the fourth wave of the pandemic, so there will be no opportunity to receive your congratulations personally from you for our results. Well, that was a joke, but the results of the third quarter, as we informed you before, the results are very good, and that's why we've corrected our prospect for 2021. All results connected with EBITDA and net profit had to be raised, and I think these are the good information. But in addition to the good info, we can add we can say that we are fully booked and we are working at full speed. And this is what is happening in many companies. We are not the only one beneficiary of this a little bit crazy demand. But with all the joy that we have right now, we cannot forget about what is happening around the world. And here, we must remember about the resources, because this is unusual. This is not normal. Well, this is not a natural demand growth, 100 or 200 and 300% growth of demand for metals, for instance. And we are a little bit concerned because this is a wildly growing prices of raw materials, and that leads to problems, issues, because we have to keep telling our clients why we have to raise our prices. Well, everybody is concerned, and that does not help good relations with our customers, because some pathological situations are involved. Somebody will buy something at a good price and then sell it again and win, but it is not a sustainable development, because, well, in our world, security is important. So we are quite concerned here. So this is one thing about the market. And another thing is the inflation. Well, I've went through a lot in my company, through many crises and other issues, but with low inflation, the comfort of our operation was completely different. Well, we were able to actually stop discussing problems with our trade unions, because we were able to actually work on the budget, and we could achieve a stable growth of the budget for our employees. And right now, all companies will have to have discussions, and we are coming back to a situation that we had 10 years ago, and the trade unions actually come over. They say there is inflation plus, and for instance, we will have to have and the salary growth of 9%. So this is the inflation scale, and it's spinning out of control, and this is a very bad information, a very bad piece of information, and very bad situation. And next year we will have a lot of work, and well, we are all wondering how this will continue, whether our government will be able to respond to this spiraling inflation, and there is a lot of work ahead. So this is the backdrop. So we are working on our budget for the next year, and we've been here in this company and working professionally for many years. So this is not nothing new for us. So we are actually realizing the fact that we have to plan the budget, think about the aluminium prices, the USD prices, and the carriers also prices. Because, for instance, the energy prices are growing as well. The fuel prices are growing as well. So if we have to pay for energy, well, with the growing prices, we will have to actually accommodate it into our product price, final price. So the time is very interesting right now. It requires a lot of work from us. Well, we've went through a lot already. We have a lot of experience and we are having everything under control, but I believe there are many companies that are not really prepared for that, and they will be hit by the situation, and I hope they will be able to manage and in the end win. And we hope for only good information that will be shared by us quarter by quarter. Other important messages. Well, we've just finalized the verification process, the analysis process of the flexible packaging segment, searching for possible investor. Nothing is happening here. Nothing new is happening here. Well, please do not feel disappointed. This is a very good segment, delivering very good results. So we have a lot of hopes for the future. And we will continue operating as three segments, and we will present you next year's budget based on three segments as well. And I think we can move on to details right now. So extruded products segment, and Piotr Wysocki, please go ahead. Well, I will actually tell you what is the situation right now. So metals and aluminium is 3050, but there were also the levels of 300 and 3200. So metals are lower right now, 3050 right now, but over huge growth of price. Last time I saw it was 10 years ago, a very high level. And that is also connected with the prices of the US dollars. Also, the billet market is really crazy. This is what we use for our aluminium profiles, for extruding it. And right now this is 1450. This is the price. And with this high level of market, well, we want to have some hedging, some leverage here. And additionally, what has happened in the recent weeks is the crazy situation with the magnesium and silicon. Well, aluminium profile requires alloying additives, including magnesium and silicon. today the magnesium is 16,500. This is the price. This is a crazy price right now. 16,500. This is the price. This is a cosmic growth that happened within a few weeks. Now it seems stable at this level, but this is a record-setting level, and silicon over 8,000. So nobody had any forecast like that. Nobody could have thought about it. And so silicon and magnesium, we don't purchase a lot of those elements, but we are unable to function without them. So we have to fight to have both silicon and magnesium for our alloy. So the third quarter was very good for extruded product segments. Our sales 3,500 tons more. So 3,500 tons more sold. High dynamics of the value of sales, but this is also connected with the price, aluminum price on the stock exchange. So it seems that everything is becoming very expensive. And despite that, we also recorded a very good margin result. This is 17.8%. So we continue selecting the customers who are able to pay, who want to work with us long term, and we raise the prices because we are forced to do so, because the raw materials are actually becoming more expensive. Well, with production with high volumes, we work at full capacity, so we are able to improve our efficiency and the effectiveness. As I've said, the sales in during the third quarter is a record high, and export takes a big share, especially in Germany. We have a strong position there. It's our biggest export market. The prices are really good. Italy, same situation, big demand in Italy. And there are a lot of producers on that market. And despite that, our export is growing at really satisfying prices. And the production, as I've said, we are working at full capacity 24/7. 4 shifts. And naturally, we cannot increase it, and we will be continuing our investments in November and December, and our production capacities will be increased. Well, I am smoothly going on to the investments. So we are investing in presses. So for instance, 40 megatons. And so all is according to the schedule, and we can safely say that in November we will be able to sell products of the small press, and then 40 megatons will be actually launched in 2023. Everything is according to the schedule, despite the crazy situation and very tough situation on the construction market. So it's very hard for long-term planning. and interesting things. Well, I'd like to tell you about the automotive segment. So the development of e-mobility, we wanted to join that as well, and our position is very strong there. Let me say this, our Slovenian company started supplying the components, aluminium components for American Fisker electric cars. So we forecast that the project duration is 2023-2029 and number of aluminium profiles will be 2,000 tons per year. On the pictures here you can see what we are manufacturing and how it is used. And this is a photograph of a car. So all those profiles are produced by our companies, by our company AKME. The green profiles are capturing the energy. They are very important for the vehicles. And another important event was the Polish Aluminium Association that was registered in July this year. It will represent the interest of the companies that operate in the Polish aluminium industry. And these are the leading producers. And this is a forum to exchange experience, information, and we can discuss all things connected with the market, with what is happening, the current situations. And this is an additional source of information for us. Also legislative issues, customs issues. We were fighting also for the duties. So this will be an organization that will support the development of aluminium industry in general. So that's all from me. Thank you so much. And we are moving on to Aluminium Systems. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Well, about the troubles we've heard previously, all those troubles affect us as well, our trading operations. Well, we became more purchase company, so the domestic and foreign sales is undisturbed, but to purchase the raw material at a good price, this may prove problematic. Everybody has this kind of problems. This is not just about aluminium and the price, but silicon, for instance, resins and other elements that are important for us to manufacture elements. And these are the troubles that we have to face this year. Next year we plan to introduce new interesting products to our portfolio. Unfortunately, the situation forced us to shift this and postpone it until the next year. We have just one solution for window doors, and we hope this will be very popular, and other solutions will be presented in the future. And now just the sales. Well, traditionally, several selected buildings that we've recently won contracts for, just the city center of Warsaw that was actually won earlier. You can actually see how that is growing in Warsaw. So this is a very positive effect. in this situation where there is more demand for loans, and that translates onto small and medium-sized buildings, apartment buildings, family houses, single-family houses. Well, we can see that, and the effect is very good. The negatives, the unstable prices, because one thing is the price of raw materials, but also the fluctuations, the lack of stability of prices means that the work on the market is destabilized. We cooperate with construction companies and the contracts are for many years. So the situation on the market can destabilize the smooth work, and we are one of the elements of the whole process, and we are forced to increase our prices. This year we had this increase twice already, and next year we will have another price increase, and we will respond to the situation accordingly in the future. And now, foreign sales, interesting photographs as well. Some exotic markets. We are very happy about our presence that is growing on the markets that we've been present for many years. So Belgium, the Netherlands. We have interesting situation in Ukraine and an interesting project here. We are showing you the biggest Slovakian project. So HB Revis, this is our first project together, and they are doing one of the very big projects in Warsaw as well. So we are very happy about this cooperation. We have a positive situation on new markets. I'm talking about China, Vietnam, Algeria, Kuwait, and I hope that in the future we will be able to tell you more about those markets and the situation on those markets. Similarly to our domestic market, no stable prices again, and that destabilizes the cooperation with our customers on European and world global markets. Well, the whole situation connected with raw materials, with the prices, did not translate into worse results, as you probably saw that in our message. Our segment in the third quarter and after the 9 months, the growth is over 20% in each field. So sales, domestic or foreign sales, also EBITDA grew, and EBITDA margin grew as well. And the structure, sales breakdown by products, well, no big differences here. Over 60% of our sales is taken by our domestic sales, 60% architectural systems, the rest are external roller shooters and others. And now, investments. We would like to tell you that the construction of both halls in Opole and in Bielsko are almost all finished. Opole has already all the furnitures and in Międzyrzecz the hall has been accepted, and now the equipment assembly has begun, and we plan to obtain an occupancy permit in January 2022. So thank you so much. And now we are moving on to flexible packaging segment, and Rafał Lechowicz will give us some information. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Rafał Lechowicz, I represent Flexible Packaging segment. Ladies and gentlemen, we've just completed the third quarter of 2021. Very good, not as good as third quarter in 2020 when we were actually selling a lot because there was a lot of panic initially and a lot of purchases in the beginning of 2020. Well, the past quarter was very good, not just for us, but full of challenges connected with some shortages and the necessity to purchase the components that are necessary for our production. Well, we are operating in the times when the contracts may not mean a lot and we can base only on the raw materials that are physically in our storages. Ladies and gentlemen, during the third quarter, the granulates prices became quite stable. So these are our basic raw materials. However, the prices of other components is changing. There is a lot of demand for polypropylene or BOPP foil is in high demand. This is very easy to recycle, for instance, and that is connected with the green pressures on the market. However, what is driving the BOPP foil well affects also other segments. We are under high pressure and this will be continued. During the third quarter, our segment grew the sales by 30% year on year. So this is due to BOPP and the raw materials. EBITDA dropped, but that is connected with a very high base in 2020. That was connected with the panic on the market. After 9 months of this year, this parameter is higher by around 30% as compared to the past year. So this is more already than in the record-setting high last year. So EBITDA will be around 280 million zloty. The level seems to be not in threat. As you can see in our table, with a high base of 2020, BOPP business did very well, 3% up. Packagings were not doing as good. This parameter dropped by 15%. And ladies and gentlemen, 50% share of BOPP in the total sales is continued. More exported goods than sold in Poland. In the future, we will still be under the pressure of highly processed products, and this is connected with the structure and the green trends. More popular become less processed products. So simplified technological manufacturing process helps to compete successfully with big producers, small companies, resulting in a price war on the market. Well, a different situation is in BOPP segment, which is doing very fine and actually much better than the packaging segment. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, during the third quarter, the capacities grew and they are nearly all at the level of 90%, and the investment plan is continued according to the schedule. We are maintaining our manufacturing potential. That's all from me. Thank you so much. And now we are moving on to the financial details, and Director Warpechowski will be presenting his materials. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As it was already said, the third quarter was a big challenge for us because of the fluctuations on the market, fluctuating macroeconomic factors, but there was a strong demand in all our segments. Therefore, sales was up by over 300 million zloty. EBITDA was 245 million zloty, which is higher year on year. There were no one-off significant events. There was a normal profit tax. Net profit was 167 million zloty plus 30%, and after 9 months we've reached the level of 466 million zloty. That was again a very good quarter, similar to the best one so far. And as we, according to our forecasts, earlier forecasts, and seeing the horizon until the end of the year, we've decided to correct the forecast for this year. And according to the message from July, we increased our revenues by 300 million, and EBITDA was increased by another 90 million zloty, and EBITDA compared to last year is up by 90 million zloty. And extruded products are responsible for at least half of it. And aluminium products and packagings are also responsible for that. And net profit, as I've said, very good. And now, cash flow. Well, operating cash flow is higher, 132 million zloty, but I need to say we've included the demand for the working capital. That is all connected with the raw materials and the scale of our operation. And capex around 45 million zloty. That will mean that during the fourth quarter we will spend more money. The expenditures will be higher, and the cash flow in the third quarter, the lower diagram, we can see that the debt also grew. We are talking about 300 million zloty. This is all connected with the dividend payment, and in previous years, well, the payments were happening in the fourth quarter, and now this is earlier, and the debt grew. But the financial situation is very secure, very stable. All levels are very stable and secure, and because of the high EBITDA, the debt is 800 million, but the indicator is still, the net debt EBITDA ratio is still 1, so very safe. We can see the financing structure with the stable financial structure. We've started the process of renewals, and last year we also diversified the maturity deadlines so that they are not maturing, our debts are not maturing in one quarter, so it will be more diversified. We are showing you how the debt changed throughout the 9 months. Over 300 million zloty flows 700 million zloty generated cash, but over 300 million zloty we've spent on the working capital because of the growing scale of our operation and the growing prices of raw materials. We pay the tax, and 324 million zloty was left out of operating. EBITDA 430 million zloty, and the debt was on the level of 840 million. And now moving on to the last part. This is our forecast. We can see that the forecast for the fourth quarter means that we expect that the fourth quarter will be better year on year by approximately 30%. The situation will be very tough. We will have really high prices, but the demand is looking very good. So we believe that this will be a good quarter. Hence, if nothing new happens, the results will also be very good. But we will have to base on our operations, on our capacities to use the opportunities on the markets. Well, operations and investment plan, it will also be a challenge, very important challenge for us because the spendings will be twice as high, around 100 million zloty. So the yearly forecast for capex, so we will probably not use the whole 180 million, but in total it will be around 250 million. So loans will be renewed. I mentioned that. We are starting a budget process under very difficult circumstances, so some changes to strategy. So we expect that the prices will be as high next year. And for the strategy, as regards the strategy, we will have to spend more for investment plan. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Thank you for the presentations, and we've actually finished the part dedicated to presentations, and we will move on to the Q&A session. I have received several questions online in our chat box, and I will read them and you will answer. So the first question is as follows. Historically, the fourth quarter has always been not as good. So this is connected with the second half of December. Well, are you thinking that it will be changed, or maybe the situation will be standard? Yes. Well, the situation will be standard. It is always a period that gives us an opportunity to check our equipment. It will be a better quarter compared to last year. Recently, we've heard that the passenger cars production manufacturing in Europe has been withheld. How will that affect the extruded products in the fourth quarter of 2021? Or maybe if it is forwarded to next year, well, will that affect you? Well, a very good result this past quarter, very good without automotive share. Well, the manufacturing plants are not operating, but we did quite very well. That's a positive information for us, because automotive companies say that they would like to come back to production, and we will see whether we have capacities for that. But without automotive, we were doing quite well, and if automotive comes back, it will be fine as well. And now, flexible packaging. How about the profitability reaching 19%? Will that be under pressure during the future quarters, or maybe this is a normalized level for the future? So, well, it's hard for me to say what will happen in the next quarters, but we should not be under pressure in the nearest future. We are quite well balanced. If one segment is not doing as well, well, the other one is working better. It's like with a way. If converting is not doing that well, then raw materials are balancing that and doing better. And another question. So capacities that the segment already has, are they related mostly to packaging or maybe BOPP? Well, the free capacities are only in packaging area. BOPP is fully booked. And now, financial question. So the increased interest rates, how that can affect the results of Kety Group. We are talking about 40 base points. And I guess this is all connected with our loans. Well, we are paying market interest rates, and it's not problematic at all. How much will the production capacities of the extruded products segment, what will be the growth of capacities in this segment after the presses are launched? Well, this investment will be also connected with some modernization. We are talking about 20-25% growth. So slight increase in the first quarter. We are talking about 4,500 tons yearly availability since the first quarter. So this is to increase the efficiency of work. We will be working with higher volumes, and at the end of year, November, new press. So how about the parameter at the level of 1? So the ratio, will that be maintained in 2022, or maybe the ratio EBITDA to net debt will be higher next year? Unfortunately, there are many factors involved here. We expect that the spendings will be higher next year. We will see what will happen. So I said that mid-year, or between the end of the year and the beginning of next year, we plan to finish this process, and we will actually inform you about it. But according to our strategy, the levels should still be safe. So it may grow with the capex, cumulated capex, and with the prices of raw materials. I need to remind you that the growths were happening during the third quarter significantly, so we may not have a full picture here. But of course, as the CEO has said, with the profit 560 million zloty, well, this is all. Okay, another question. The current forecast for 2021 implies the EBITDA that was included in the strategy for 2025. Will you be updating the strategy objectives, or maybe the result in 2021 should be treated as unique, and the next year will not be as good. Well, let's not say that the results this year are unique. We do not say it anymore because there are so many events happening. So the limitations in raw materials availability and capacities and so on, there are many elements involved, and because we were able to deal with this tough situation, we generated really high profits. But on the other hand, for the future, we have to remember about the energy cost. So this is the recent change, and this may actually impact the situation in the future. Well, the next year's budget will be based on the objectives, current objectives and premises. Well, if there are bigger differences, we will come back to the strategy. Well, a lot of things are happening quicker. So, when talking about the yearly forecast, well, we will think about the strategy as well. But this will not happen before mid-year next year. Well, I don't really want to use the word unique because we were able to actually deal with it, but that actually shows you the potential, how that may work. And all the elements worked well for us, for our company. And well, this may not be the situation next time. So let's wait with the strategy until next year, so that we can announce something. And I hope that the pandemic is actually ending, because we have to remember about the pandemic, because the fourth wave is hitting Poland, and we don't know how this will affect the market. Well, the question is this is actually a good question, because we may stick to our strategy, but we would like to achieve a better comfort when we talk about stabilization. And now a technical question: what is the average in kilograms the use of silicon and magnesium per ton of aluminium profile? Now, magnesium, the hard alloys. We're talking about, we buy around 20 tons of magnesium per month, and silicon, we must buy around 50-60 tons, depending on the types of alloys, with 8,500 tons of sales. So these are not really big values, but without 20 tons of magnesium, we will not be able to produce as much. Monthly, we are talking about monthly amounts, 20 tons monthly. So 20 tons of magnesium monthly, and 50-60 tons of silicon, as compared to 8,500 tons of sales. And again, a question for you. Despite the growing prices of raw materials and other costs, the EBITDA per ton grew significantly. Is it because of hedging or cheaper inventories, or maybe the premium for processing? If the prices are dropping, will EBITDA per ton decrease? improve or stabilize? Well, it depends on the scale, because this is a complex question. Of course, we have some inventories because we have to actually order everything earlier. We have to sign contracts ahead of time. But that also affects our EBITDA, but that is also connected with the prices that we increase. We match the situation on the market. We've done already several increases this year, an aggressive price policy on the market. Well, we use the situation. There is high demand on the market. We increased our prices, and the prices already are very high. So we are not planning with the prices farther than 1 quarter ahead. We observe the situation on the market. Well, this is the whole process of price increases, and we are talking about monthly increases, for instance. We also heard about hedging, so earlier purchases. There is no speculation here. Of course, we have inventories, but they are rotating. For instance, billets that were used for production were, for instance, a little bit cheaper, but there is no speculation here. These are operational inventories only. And in this EBITDA, you can see you don't see any financial hedging effect. This is just our operation and work. EBITDA margin on BOPP dropped to 15%. Is it a model kind of margin, or maybe we should expect more decreases to the level of 10-15%? We should not expect further decrease, and the margin is similar to last year, and it will be over 20% on the level of EBITDA. You have to remember that this is an export business, so we respond to the situation on the market. Sometimes the margin is 40% on EBITDA level, sometimes 13%. So we do not follow just short periods, like 3-month periods. In October, for instance, we expect that the margin will be 20%. So only good things are happening. Could you tell us more about the price war on the market? This is what I've said during my presentation. In packagings, the trend, there is a green trend. Simpler packaging is more popular, so highly processed, several layer packagings are replaced by simpler unified packaging, driven by the green trends. So we have more competitors, because if there are more companies producing the same product, there always can be a price war. Well, the price war is also the effect of production surplus on the market, but we've dealt with the situation very well so far. And we have a good balance between BOPP and packagings. And now the question about energy and gas prices. We'd like to hear your comments on the forecasts for 2022. What kind of expenditures are you planning to have? Because the budget has not been published yet, maybe we could hear what will be the percentage growth, what will be the scale. Well, what we've seen in recent weeks on the markets are very dynamic changes, but we purchase gas and energy in advance. We break this down into tranches in order to stabilize the price for us. We continue this policy, and the growth will not fully translate onto our operations, but we are talking about 50-60 million zloty. But if we treat the very high prices today as stable prices, so the missing hedging will be according to today's prices. We are secured, partially secured until the third quarter. So after the winter period, especially as regards gas, maybe the situation will improve. What kind of salaries, what kind of growths are you expecting here? Well, yes, on the budget level, 6%, one-digit growth, but not below 5%, surely. In August, Russia Aluminium was supposed to be come with 15% duty. Who's covering the cost, the buyer or the seller? Well, the conditions that were given to us were very hard. Well, this is the situation on the Ukraine, on the Ukrainian market. We've only had this situation in Ukraine, well, 15% duty that affected us, and then we translated it into our clients. But yesterday, in Metal Courier, this is Russian Metal Bulletin, they say that the duties will be removed as quickly. They'll be lifted. So another question. How about the guarantees? The fluctuations in additives, can they affect the consistency of production, volume of production? Well, we are safe here. 80% of magnesium on the European market comes from China. So the question is, there are inventories in Europe. We cooperate with 5 suppliers until the end of the year. We are not afraid of the situation because we have inventories, and then we will see what will happen with this high price and what will happen in China. And so far, continued work, taking into account the price fluctuations, availability fluctuations of aluminium. And problems, potential problems for companies processing aluminium. If there are any opportunities to take over such companies, will you take that into account, or do you stick to the idea of the fourth leg of your business, taking into account the relatively low level of debt? Well, we are checking our suppliers because when we talk about billets, this is the problem, the supply problem. Recently, a billet producing company has been closed down recently. The competitors. Flexible approach to the market. If there is an opportunity, a good opportunity, then we can think it through, definitely. But they must have really good technology, good plant, so that we can deal with it. New and cheap. So this has to be a very good opportunity and flexible approach to investments. This is what we have. We keep watching the situation. So the fourth leg. In general, the same applies. We have several projects on the table, and this is what we are going through. But I can't really say anything right now because we are not involved in anything specific right now. Thank you. And another question, should we expect that the volumes will grow in the fourth quarter across all segments? Yes. Director Lechowicz, did you hear the question? Because we've heard that the volumes will be higher in their segments. How about the packagings? Can we expect higher volumes as compared to last year? No, not in packaging, but propylene, yes. And now the question for Aluminium Systems. How about the clients? Do they accept higher prices? Where is the threshold that will result in smaller demand and more demand for substitutes? We believe that there is a threshold for the growth of prices. Well, the biggest problem is the contracts that are signed several months ahead, because it's very hard to introduce a price increase, and this is where we have the biggest problems. But the client who continuously sells the product translates that directly into end customer quite successfully. And today there is no tendency that the customers who were able to pay for aluminium product and give it up and go for cheaper wood, for instance, or plastic. So we don't see that, but it may happen that the retail customer says no, or a customer who would like to build a office building will not be able to do it with the prices. There is a threshold, but we will see how high. How about the current situation in construction industry? Does that affect you? No. Well, against all odds, in our segment, well, the flow has been really the best in years. Are there any problems with the availability of subcontractors? I can only say that only what I hear from our customers, as far as I know, when it comes to the assembly companies, the situation has not changed. It's not worse nor better. Our customers are the subcontractors. They have quite a lot of work. There is no huge problem there. Thank you so much. That was the last question from our chat. There are no other questions that were emailed to me. That means that we've exhausted the Q&A session. So I'd like to thank you so much. I'd like to thank our viewers. I'd like to thank our management board. And again, I'd like to, as usual, I'd like to invite you to the next presentation after the fourth quarter. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, and goodbye.